And again, welcome everybody. This is PnP Weekly, episode 248. It is 6th of May, 2024. Summer is coming in the Northern Hemisphere, winter is coming in the Southern Hemisphere. Realities of the globe. Or is it? Is it a ball or not? So in this episode...
It's not a ball. It's
yes, in the PnP Weekly, what's the difference? In the PnP Weekly, we go through always the latest in Microsoft 365, and typically also have a visitor. This time the visitor is
Mr. Amy Diamond. He is a SharePoint consultant out of Israel, and he's also an MVP. And we had a great chat with him about his journey all the way from SharePoint 2007 to now to the cloud, how he engages with community, what kind of things he does. So it was a really great chat to him, and also to learn from him how things evolved and where he's active. So I would say, without further ado, let's go into the interview.
Let's do that. So welcome, Ami, on the PnP Weekly episode. Waldek, can you help me? What was the episode
248.
248. So welcome on the show. So Ami, let's start with basics. Who are you and what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm Ami Diamond and I live in Israel, and I'm a SharePoint consultant in a boutique company called Deepplan in Israel. And I have started with SharePoint from 2007 version and went up until the online. Started as an end user. Actually, the company wanted just to have an intranet or internet site, and eventually I moved from an end user to a key user, and then I was responsible for regional SharePoint site, and then I became moved to SharePoint Online, was involved with all kinds of migrations, and I loved sharing a lot of knowledge, and I created my YouTube channel, which is called SharePoint Wizard, and maybe we'll talk about it. So This is in an overview.
Absolutely. That's actually really, it's nice to see that you have that real end user background, because again, that gives you grounded and understanding on how the end users are approaching things, right? So rather than, the challenges what normal end users are having.
Yes, indeed. I think it's important to understand, first of all, what the business needs, what are the use cases, and how you can adjust the features and the tools that Microsoft provides to fit the requirements and to improve productivity and time saving and all of that. So
yeah. Definitely. Now let's actually jump right into the YouTube channel and then come back on the other things. You said that it's a SharePoint Wizard. Is it only for SharePoint? Can you do a quick intro? What does the YouTube channel actually is all about?
Yeah, well, the reason I started the YouTube was just to document things I came across, if it's bugs or tips and tricks, just so I can go back and find it. And eventually I uploaded the information, and I found that people are interested also. So I started creating more things. In general, it's not only SharePoint and Teams, it's all the Microsoft 365. So it can be all of the Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It can be a Planner. It can be Teams. And all of the applications. I'm less involved with the Power Platform, but as a consultant, you need to know also at least what each tool does. I can do basic stuff, Power Automate and things, but sure. I don't go a deep dive to there, because I think it's important also, if you know something specific, then you can give lots of information. If you know a lot of many things, sometimes you don't get that professional in that. So, sure. But in general, the YouTube, the idea was just like you would go to a place and you want automatically that everything will be, then you would have a wizard that you do next, and actually things like magic can be done. The idea is, as I said, to give tips and tricks, and also take the feature, compare the pros and cons, and also what use cases can it be used, and sometimes to specify the limitations or boundaries that the feature gives, in order that users will not get to a situation where they need support. So that's in general. And I hope in the show notes you'll share the YouTube channel.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And all of the other relevant assets. I mean, definitely. That's the whole show is all about yours. So and your value, what you're providing.
By the way, I really appreciate the honor of being on your show, because it's not. I think of myself as just a regular end user that maybe has some exposure, and I'm very privileged to be in this MVP program, which I get a lot from the community, and also have the opportunity also to share the knowledge.
Sure. Now, on the YouTube, so I've seen that you're publishing actually quite a lot of videos. What's your kind of a video? How many videos is getting out on a weekly basis? Just out of curiosity, so for anybody who's watching.
It can be between 2 and 3 a week, but it can be daily. So it depends on. Let's say it depends on the some videos I plan to do, and then I know exactly when it's going to be. But if all of a sudden I see a new feature, or I see a use case or a solution that I need to share, then I can do it. But it takes lots of time and effort, and everything is voluntarily, and it's out of work area. So it's a sacrifice, but if I enjoy doing it, then it's worth it. When you enjoy doing something, as if you're not working. So it's not a
definitely,
work.
Definitely. Was it a deliberate choice to go down the YouTube route, or was it more like, I'm going to do that, as opposed to having a blog, a podcast, or some other thing?
Well, I had no knowledge on how to make videos and how to create a YouTube. I just said, let's give it a try. And step by step, I started getting some subscribers and get some videos. And I actually celebrated 700,000 views since the YouTube channel has started 2.5 years ago. And that's amazing. I didn't expect anything. I just did it for my own use. And the video I found is a way to express myself much easier. Okay, I don't like all of the talking around, and just get to the point. Say what's your purpose. Say what you're going to do. Summarize at the end what you did, and people like it short, because if it's too long, people will get bored or just leave. And if it's too short, then people won't understand what you're talking about.
Cool. Now, can we talk a bit about your MVP? So you got the MVP award. I think was it in February? Or in March?
June
last year. Okay.
Last year, yeah.
Got it.
So life was not that easy. In this point, I had Norm Young. He's also an MVP from Canada, which nominated me the first time, and I was not accepted. And I guess it was because maybe I didn't have enough contributions. So what I said was, I'm doing it no matter if I get it. The target is not to get the MVP. The target is to share the information. And if I don't get it, then too bad, but I will continue in doing it. So the first year, I was expecting it every first of the month, trying to see if I get anything, but I didn't get it. So I just continued, and actually we renominated me, and the next time it was accepted. And I tried very much to use social media, very much LinkedIn and Twitter.
Yep.
And also my YouTube channel. And once I joined, it was very, it was really an honor. And the community of non-MVPs and also MVPs is so accepting, and you can ask every stupid question, and because you learn from it. Well, it's not a stupid question. It can be a simple question, because maybe I didn't come across it before, but other people did, and that sharing is caring. And actually, I very much enjoy the community, especially the MVP, because it gives information about what's coming, of course, under NDA. And it's also possible to be in touch also with the product team and other people that you can share for improvements or for things that need to be maybe fixed. And I get a feeling of a very, very positive environment that really supports. Let people grow, okay? Let people be creative and be, so.
Yep, makes perfect sense. I think that's a good description of how MVP community actually works for sure. And there's obviously a lot of value for people who are MVPs getting the NDA access, as you were saying, and then asking those questions, because again, there's so many features in Microsoft 365, and that's the value of having a channel or a block of sharing those findings for the larger community as well. Or every single day we are rolling out new features, so people are running into them even before we update the roadmap information every now and then, which is a bit of a bummer because we should be a bit more strict on that, but that's a separate discussion.
Actually, I might say that I found that there's sometimes more than one single source of truth, meaning there's the message center, there's the Microsoft roadmap, and my YouTube was somehow to gap between them. It not to replace Microsoft, of course, but to maybe to bridge or to find ways for users to find a place where it's happening. Sometimes for users, because I make a training for a feature which is not there, then they are a bit say, it's not on my tenant, but I think that's how it works. Even if you see a user sees this is what's going to happen, then it gives him already ideas on how he can adjust it. So I
definitely.
I wanted to go back to you becoming an MVP, right? So you became an MVP. You got the award last June. What's changed, if anything?
Lots of pride on my own. If I explained it to my wife, she won't understand what's the whole thing. But with other fellow MVPs, it's really. I think it's really. I don't know if much changed. I didn't change my job, or it didn't change. But I definitely, it gave me more enthusiasm to learn more, to ask questions, to be involved. It's, I think, more mental thing. Maybe in future it will also help, work-wise or other things. But it's not magic. It's not. If you get the MVP, you push a button and then you become the Microsoft CEO. Yes. it can potentially can help and open doors. I know, but I'm not rushing. I take it step by step because sometimes there's so much information in there, and you need to say stop. Let's focus on other things. But I think things are good. I mean, I'm happy, and that's what's important. I'm getting access. I'm networking with people. I had even the honor to have Vesa on my YouTube channel. I have also a podcast which I did with Inea. And and that's actually an extension to the YouTube channel, because not only I wanted to provide the information, but to get to know the people and to meet, so other people can meet other influencers in the MVP community. So, for instance, I had Greg Zelford, and I was also invited to other people. So I think it's to get to know the people, even if it's virtually. And the funny thing is, I'm from Israel, and whoever nominated me was from Canada. So most people, I guess, get nominated, in the same region. But here, somebody at the end of Canada noticed and said, Ami, you're doing a good job. I really want you to try to be there. So there's really less boundaries and actually the idea of doing everything in English opens lots of doors, because if you're very specific in your own language, it's much limited. Although it's very important, I think, because the local people will have the information in their local language. But so, it's a small world, and English is the international language, and I think that gives you much more opportunities to spread your knowledge.
True, absolutely. Yeah, as you said, it's not important. It doesn't have to be English. Regional things are important as well. But again, Finland as an example is a really good example. There's 5.5 million Finnish-speaking persons in the world, and from them, how many are Microsoft 365 people? Not that many. So,
I mean, we know at least of one.
Well, there we go. So.
No, but I think like it's also, I think it depends in which part of the world you are, and like the community with which you engage. Like, what is their mastery of English? Like there are people across the world like who are in the IT, and English is basically as second nature. Whereas there's a bunch of folks who are successful, they can do their job, and they don't speak English because it's just in their region, it's just not a thing. So I guess there's a balance to everything, right? And there is place to everything. But I really like what you said about the fact that you are in Israel, and there was somebody else like almost on the other side of the world noticing your work. It only shows, right? It only shows your reach. And the really cool thing about the fact that the tools that we can all use, right? Because it's available to everybody. Right, like there's almost no limit to anybody's ability to have a blog or channel where they share things, whether that's video or audio or whatever you want to do. The reach of these things and the value that everybody else put into the things we all know, right? Because for us, it might be nobody, everybody knows, nobody cares about that. Well, that's not true, right? Because maybe for every one person who knows exactly what you know, there's 9 or 10 who don't. And they really, appreciate learning from you because, well, I mean, one day in the past, you said yourself, you were just a user. And now
end user.
Exactly. You evolved into, being an expert. There's a bunch of folks in the same shoes, right? So, and it helps so much to kind of bring them along and let them learn. So if anything else, I think that what you share only is an emphasis of the importance of how important it is to share what you know.
Yeah, and I think actually sometimes I take the granted that everyone knows it, and maybe it's maybe clear to me, but I also started from a point that I didn't know it. and
True.
sometimes to go. I try to go to very advanced things, but sometimes the basics to introduce let's say SharePoint or Teams to the environment is very important, because you want to bring more people and to know how to work in the environment. And in places you go, people leave the job and join, and then you need. And part of my focus where I work is also adoption. So it can be training, it can be implementation. So you can push a button and create a site, but sometimes you want to make minor configurations and that's where I stand in. And sometimes one of the challenges, I don't know if it's a challenge, but sometimes in Microsoft you have several tools to do the same thing for
True.
task management. Okay,
True.
you have List, you have Planner, you have a Loop, you have
Notepad,
project.
you've got email.
Yeah. And sometimes when you give, it's like a child. Sometimes if you give him only 2 or 3, then he can choose. But when he has 10, he doesn't know what to choose. But it's better to have a variety than to have no tools. But sometimes you need to say, okay, this is more fittable for this use case, and this is for another case, and let you decide. Because there's also other tools in other companies that have colorful, so-called lists. But so the funny thing is, I noticed, and I'm sharing it with you. Sometimes when you get something for free, you don't use it, and you use something that you pay. So I wasn't a customer that said we get it for free. So that's not really, but if we pay $30 for that, then that's not right. If you have already the subscription to 365, use it and bring it to the edge. Integrate Microsoft List with Power Automate, with other things, and that's the beauty in Teams. And again, I'm not a programmer. And I know SharePoint and Teams and all of the things, but it's, as I said, you need to know exactly at least what each tool does and how can it be integrated in order to have harmony.
True.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many features, so much value in the default subscriptions already, and like you said, it's quite often people are not aware on all of the things and capabilities which are available. So that's why we need people like you. I mean,
it's
and I guess it's also 2 things, right? Because like it's one, like you can, let's say you would look at Teams, right? And you say like Teams, like everybody knows how to chat. Right, so you say like what's the point of you sharing the guidance or tips on how to use Teams? But I bet there's a bunch of us, all of us collectively, and I think myself included, that could learn from how to use Teams effectively. Yes, we can chat. I can chat. But how you can make really, get the most out of organizing conversations with channels or organizing files, like really benefiting from everything the Teams has to offer. Like basically the same thing, a hammer and a nail. Like everybody, like if you have a hammer, it's no brainer thing to drive nail in wood. But to use a hammer efficiently and effectively, there are folks who use it every day and they have, some cool skills. Like you can like put the nail, like if you turn it around, you can use it to do the first hit so that you will not hit yourself in a hand. And there's just a bunch of tips like I didn't even know, like it didn't even occur to me, because it's like we make this assumption and based on that we think I know it already. Do you though? Right? So having someone for the intro stuff, like not really going very much in depth in the nitty-gritty detail of a specific API yet. Like yes, there is room for that too. But even taking a step back and like saying, hey, this is this tool, this is how you can use it efficiently, I think that is really, really invaluable, because we often start with, this is what it is, and it's there. And then it's like feature. It's like, how do you incorporate that in your daily work?
True.
How do I do that? Okay, as I said, if I'm in a company and part of the adoption, and then you need to introduce the users to the tools and the applications. So I would separate between a training which would be basic, how do you use the office, how to use the Teams, a meeting, a chat, and other. And then I would have like a key user or advanced training, which will actually train the trainer. Yeah, that says, okay, now that you know the basic, here's the right way to do things. You should know what are the boundaries and limitations. If you store in Teams, actually you're storing in SharePoint. And if you're, how should you work? Should you work with metadata, or should you work with folders? And permissions is something which sometimes I think can be simple, but sometimes it can be very complicated. And people can do all kinds of things that they don't exactly know what they're doing. So actually, yes, it's a combination of to know with which audience you're working, and to try to get the to give them the answer and to guide them for the next steps. And sometimes they just do trainings recorded, and sometimes face to face, because sometimes actually, I work in a customer which is Israel Antiquity Authority, and they dig for antiquities. So 2000. So that the technology is less deep there, and sometimes they use a pencil or pen. Yeah. So so to adopt them to work in a certain way is sometimes challenging, but sometimes it's important, because these are the people that need to work in a productive way.
Well, but that's an interesting case you mentioned. Like, I don't know if you knew, like a while back, and I don't know if it's still going on or not. There was this ancient scroll challenge. I think it was sponsored by Nat Friedman, who used to be CEO of GitHub, where we have these ancient scrolls, and we cannot unroll them because they will break. So we want to be able to read what's on them, because there's like really like, I think this is the like first form of writing that we've got like a physical element of, right? So like there's this whole thing about involving really advanced AI to be able to read what's on them. So you have this on one end, this really ancient artifact combined with modern tech that now, after all these years, enables us to achieve more and to be able to see what's in there. So this is really great way and contrast to see like how modern technology can even support us with the ancient world.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes if you look with your bare eye, you won't see anything. But if you use very high definition of cameras that can all of a sudden reveal something that you couldn't see, and like a big microscope.
Yep.
Not Microsoft. Microsoft.
Microsoft is also big, so that's fair.
yeah. Too much. MVP in my head.
yeah. And I mean, like you're being primed with the shared the Vesa has, like every single thing you think of Microsoft. Like that's not the word I mean. I mean the other word.
Yeah.
Now,
actually, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm moving away from this topic. I mean, do you want any thought? No. Moving. Okay, cool. So now you also talked about the fact that that you are a consultant. We touched already some of the customers and other things. How does a consultant, Microsoft 365 consultant, day look like within Israel? So is it different than anybody else, or what kind of things do you actually do?
Well, it really depends, I think, in the company you are, because I'm in a my customer is a governmental, which can be totally different from a high-tech company.
Yeah.
So part of my job, as I said, was doing training and adoption. Second could be governance. Third thing could be support. People have an issue, a bug, and I can give the first or second level support before, and if not, it can be opened to Microsoft. And other things are actually meeting the customer, and they want a form or something, and then we decide how it will be and what technology, how much effort it would be, what are the to customize actually what exactly the needs are, and to analyze it. And you can start your day thinking you're doing X, and all of a sudden you run into either developing or creating a new site, or you need to deal with an urgent topic which came out and users can not work anymore. So it can be a combination, but actually I enjoy the variety of things. And currently, actually, we're in a migration project. Well, it's actually the company, the customer decided. They as some people say, OneDrive is for me, Teams is for we, and SharePoint is for everyone. Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, using OneDrive can be like a shadow IT, or can be a place that if a user leaves his company, all of his data can be lost or not if he doesn't if because it's by default shared only to him. Now there's a process that it can go to his manager or something like that, but the OneDrive is actually not a place for sharing and collaborating. You can share, but it's not the same. So this customer is actually saying we're trying to reduce to minimum the use of OneDrive and moving into SharePoint and Teams in order that the data will and the knowledge will be in an organization where you can control it and you don't need to. So that's an interesting concept, because I
Sure.
think Microsoft is from one side promoting to use and putting lots of features in the OneDrive. But on the other hand, for companies that want to have their knowledge more controlled, then Teams and SharePoint is the more place that it can be also found by search.
Sure.
And also it's all a matter of what the tool's purpose is. And sometimes, for instance, the company took OneDrive as a backup to the desktop documents and pictures, which is good. But on the other hand, if you look at the hat of the company, then they would like it to have it in a place where permissions are managed by the organization and not depending.
Individual. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's how I'm now in a project of trying to move the information to the SharePoint environment.
Makes perfect sense. Now, as an example, even in Microsoft, we are having the same problem. So we are having this exact same discussion within my team, which is partly in Redmond and partly outside of Redmond. But basically, there's a lot of people who love to share the presentations only from their OneDrive, but the problem is that when somebody needs to access the latest version of specific presentation, they don't know which one is the latest version because there's copies, all of that stuff. So if we would have a team site where we'll always have the latest and greatest, which you can sync using a OneDrive still to your computer, it would solve the problem. But it's a cultural
There's
thing as well.
one caveat.
So-
Well, yes, and there's also another thing. So a while back, it happened to me. I wanted to do the right thing, put the files that I worked on in a shared place. Permissions were adjusted. I couldn't work on a thing. I was blocked. It's like, seriously. So there's like, yeah, because that's not my personal thing. It was different side managed centrally. Permissions were
by somebody
changed.
else.
And
Yeah.
So
But
there's
again,
also
you
this,
need
like,
to make sure the permissions are right, of course, 100%. But
yeah.
Yeah, and talking about that, if we're talking about the Copilot, then I think the permissions is something that you need to check before. It's just like when you had Delph, and all of a sudden you see people see files that they didn't know they had access, and Delph has showed it, and some people wanted to shut it off. And but
You mentioned an interesting point. And that's something like that's burning for me to ask. And I wanna ensure that I ask it in the right way, because like I don't mean it in any negative way, but and maybe that's also the misconception that folks have across the world. But Israel as a country is very very leading when it comes to security, governance, encryption, and all of that. What's the general stance on tools like Copilot and Delph in Israel? Is like, are the customers trusting? Are they skeptical, hesitant, or very much like maybe the government part's security space is and the other isn't? So basically, like the rest of the world. Can you say something around that?
Yeah, well, it's Copilot is new for everyone. Up until now, there was a limit of 300 users, so many couldn't even get to because of the price and because of the limit of licenses that you needed to take. Once that went down, I think slowly by slowly, people might try it. They might take it. I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of Microsoft Israel. Yeah, I'm talking from my personal feeling. Is that I think slowly by slowly, people will, because ChatGPT, as Israel is a startup nation, then everyone's testing, I guess, all around the world, also ChatGPT, and there's some also competitors. But so everyone knows ChatGPT, and if you explain to the user that actually it's Copilot is like a ChatGPT within the organization where you can only find things that are separate. Well, of course, we have Copilot, which is for the Microsoft 365, and then you have the personal one or the browser one. But I think slowly there's interest of testing it, and I think Israel workers lead in testing things and adopting new technologies. Of course, it's a matter of costs, and if you can bring to the user or explain to the user that he can have a ROI, return of investment, and he can save time, then sometimes that can convince the user. But I think it's a process that slowly, if we talk about Viva, then there's so many Vivas, and I don't know how is the adoption all around the world. I expect that some Vivas are more adopted than others, and it's really a matter of costs. It's a matter of what the business is looking for, and also the people that mediate it. So the people like consultants like me that can say, listen, I heard about Microsoft solution of backup and restore. How about testing it? Instead of paying for a third-party provider, but then sometimes they compare the functionality, and sometimes in addition also the costs, and sometimes when you put it all together, you can see what it is. yeah, so
cool. Now, from a timing perspective, being cautious about the time, let's do a quick round of what's happening this week, and then I guess we need to start closing up for today. We could keep on going and going and going for sure. But how does your schedule look like, Ami, on this week? So just curiosity for anybody who's listening or watching on how does a consultant schedule look for this week?
okay, as I said, I have lots of migrations or moving content from the OneDrive to SharePoint. I have some meetings of understanding the business needs of users for future forms and some workflows that are related to it. Of course, I will have some support tickets to handle, and I will have also some trainings and adoptions to do. As I said, yeah, no,
It's an
not
endless
that.
queue, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of things to tackle, and it's an endless flow of incoming tasks for sure. So
And out of work, of course, I'm planning to create a new video.
there we go. Excellent.
And to have a post about also this this interview. Yep.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you, Amy, on that one. Now, Waldek, how does your week look like?
It looks really good. This week is very short.
And that's it.
So
it is short. It is a short week. So
Thursday,
is the Friday off?
We're off. Yeah. So
okay.
so it's just 3 days. Let me see. I think one thing top of mind that we really need to, or I need to get some work behind, is to last week I think you've announced the GA of SharePoint Framework 1.19.
Sure.
So we need to really get on it to release new version of CLI for Microsoft 365 so that everybody can easily upgrade their project. So that is one. We're doing some more work around Dev Proxy, and we've done some work upgrading or extending the integration that we've got with Azure API Center. So that is one. And two, we're doing some experiments around integrating with LLMs. So like, how can Dev Proxy help you with using LLMs within the apps you build for Microsoft 365? So we're doing some more there, or 365 or not, because you can integrate any app in the world with LLMs. So that would be applicable as well. So we're doing some exploratory work around that. Anything else? On Wednesday, I'm getting an aircon here. Finally, after all these years, I will no longer be hot. So it's just
about time
for the heat wave.
Yes,
so
exactly.
About time, definitely. So yeah, on Wednesday it's gonna be a mess, but hopefully by the end of the day, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that's good. That is good. Now I have my aircon with me in here as well. So let's see if the camera will. Oh, maybe here, camera.
If you move more to your left, I think it's gonna pick it up.
To do this.
There you go. Vesa and his aircon. There you go. Best friends ever.
No, in my case as well. So Thursday is off. Friday is actually normal working day in Finland, but Thursday is off for most of the Europe because of the
Ascension.
Ascension Day. Yes, that's a typical thing in the Europe countries, which is off an official public holiday.
I thought it was the Eurovision, isn't it?
That's happening as well.
That's not a holiday. It's not a holiday.
No, maybe it should be. Maybe it should be. That is true. Yes, and we do have a Windows 95
to be
man.
off for it, but I wouldn't watch it. Not my
we do
thing.
have Windows 95 man showcasing from Finland. So
yeah,
Alec, you missed a lot if you're not aware of what that is. So
I know who it is. He looks like a famous F1 driver who is also a Finn.
Yeah, go figure.
So yeah, no, my thing.
We have the ECS European Collaboration Summit coming next week. Quickly recapping on my side as well. So the prepping there, SPFX 1.19 last week. We need to do some announcements, other announcement this week as well. So a lot of stuff is getting rolled out as part of the new announcements. That's more and more stuff for Amy also to do videos, which is great. Not SPFX, but the end user features and capabilities and Card Designer V2 and all of that stuff. A lot of stuff coming out. But I think European Collaboration Summit, as mentioned, is next week in Wiesbaden, Frankfurt, and I think it is now sold out at 3,000 attendees. So
Wow.
it's really, really cool. Cool to go there and see how that's going then after last week in Orlando. But it's been a lot of traveling. I'm already waiting for the summertime to come. So a bit time off. But that's a separate thing. Anyway, thank you, Ami, for joining us on the PnP Weekly.
Really, one last thing. It was a pleasure and honor that you invited me to the show. I mean, I thought I'm just end user, and I want to thank all of the product team and all of Microsoft technicians for doing a great job and bringing amazing stuff. I think there's so many things. Microsoft at some points didn't release so many things, and now it's really hard to follow what's happening. So really, I'm looking forward for things that we cannot talk about, but it's going to be a SharePoint spaceship. or Star Trek. Yeah. So I really appreciate and thank you all for what you do and supporting the community, and because whatever you give, you get back, and I think we help Microsoft, and Microsoft also benefits from what we do. So we
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ami, on that one.
Thank you.
So really, really, really cool, and thank you for the kind words. And I guess that's it for this show. So we'll jump from this. We'll jump to the weekly articles. We will finally have a time to catch up on some articles as well, because we've been doing pre-recordings. But let's jump from this interview to quickly articles on this week. Ami, thank you for joining. It was really a pleasure. We'll get you invited on the show again in some point of time for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ami. Bye.
Bye.
Excellent. Thank you, Amy, one more time on the great discussion. Really, really cool to hear the latest on your side as well. And again, thank you for the great work on the YouTube channel. There's so much great content going published there every single week. So a lot of content, which everybody should benefit, right? Subscribe. So
smash that like button.
That subscribe and like button and add comments and anyway.
Yes.
Cool. Yes. Cool. Let's jump on the weekly articles, go through them, and I think that's pretty much sums up the whole show. Bye-bye. Now, let's start with a Microsoft article. So first of all, the monthly ones are again out. I love these. These are really, really good. What's the new in Microsoft Teams? April 2024 summary. So catching up on all of the different announcements, screenshots and GIFs and animation and all of that stuff across the stack. So a lot of awesome stuff which is available. Devices store in Microsoft Teams. Interesting. But a lot of interesting stuff getting really at certain moments of a time. You might say like, okay, so when is Teams mature enough? But still a lot of innovation across the board.
There's always new ideas, and there's always use cases. I think that's really the thing with a product, right? It's never really done, to be honest. Like, there's always room for improvement. There are always new things to change and optimize. So yeah, I think we will never hit that point.
Yep, absolutely. I started paying attention in here, multi-instance app customization. So there's basically multi-instances of the same app, and then you can customize and target them based on your company. And that's actually pretty cool. Example here being the Viva Connection, which has been targeted and customized as Contoso and then Relay Cloud in a same instance, which is actually a lot of cool things, cool functionalities across the board. Now, on the Viva blog, before we go to the SharePoint and monthly one, this one was interesting. We both started smiling on the title, but I guess it's understandable reasons. So the link between Viva engaged usage and 21 higher employee retention rates. And yes, 100%, that could be 100% accurate and possible. But it's always like, what was the Mark Twain saying? Lies, damn lies, statistics. But you can draw conclusions out of, not saying that we're drawing conclusions out of thin air, but again, it seems like sure. And I'm pretty sure that using Viva Engage and Microsoft Viva will increase the employee retention, but is it precisely 21 or 20? Just asking. Did we get this recorded? We did. That was. Are you frozen or you're just silent? I guess that.
I'm
again,
silent. No comment.
No, but a lot of good stuff in here as well, and also new videos, employee retention in Viva Engage. What does it actually mean, and all of those conclusions. So, really good statistics and insights on the link between the employee importance of employee communications, and then getting people linked back on things. Now, I just always. Why 21? Why isn't 20 or whatever? Anyway, so statistics are always hard. You can draw interesting conclusions. I do this all the time with my monthly summaries internally. Did I say that out loud as well? I did. So there's a lot of interesting ways you can bend the statistics, but that's part of the game. So that's all good.
Next article.
Yes. Cool. What's new in the Viva Insights, April 2024? Again, summary on the Viva Insights sites on what's available over there. The Viva Insights are actually kind of interesting thing. It is, depending on a country and region where you work on, it has a significantly more or less features and functionalities, because Insights is analyzing a lot of the human behavior in EU that's not necessarily allowed. So therefore, if as an European employee, you might be watching on, hey, I don't see all of the statistics. Well, that's because it has a different experience. So good. May 4th, 2024. May 4th, 2024, Viva Clint release update. Got it. That's not a bad title. Interesting. Except that it's April 13th. May 4th. I don't understand this.
Next, go. Don't get hung up on details. It's like
no, but wow. Okay. Anyway, so Clint updates and capabilities available. We're trying to be too clever, maybe, on some of the titles. SharePoint Roadmap Pit Stop, April 2024, with Mark Cashman. So intro zone podcast as well, 25 minutes, summary on things, and then talking about all of the latest features, like also the SharePoint Brand Center with the custom fonts. One of the most requested feature by far for SharePoint Online for more than a decade. Can we get a custom font? Can we get a custom font? Finally, it is available for people to take advantage. And also a lot of additional capabilities mentioned within this blog across the Microsoft 365. Wow, I'm just watching here. Interesting. So the PnP community site, also Microsoft 365 platform community site, got a makeover pretty recently, and that was mentioned here as well. Really cool. Thank you for that. Now, we also had an update on Microsoft SharePoint roadmap. This is May 2024 update, which is basically not what has been updated a month ago. It's more on what's the latest related on SharePoint and related technologies, because we had the Orlando conference. So Microsoft 365 community conference was last week, and we did announce new capabilities on that side. So this is really a recap on all of the features, capabilities, videos, all of that stuff, which were prepared also for the Orlando conference. A lot of cool stuff in the pipeline over there. There was also a blog post on this one, interesting, introducing organizational messages preview in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Really interesting feature, which I'm still a bit confused. Well, we didn't record this as I was hunting down the picture of what this actually means. So you can, in your organization, you can create organizational messages, which are then exposed and targeted for the administrators and corporate communications, the message throughout your company. That's a good picture. That's not a good picture. Let's zoom in here on the message. However, I was unable to find exactly how and where it will be exposed for end users. So the blog post itself doesn't actually define that, and the documentation is not super precise on that as well. So you can create target, schedule, and approve and review them, but it doesn't actually show you how it's being exposed, for example, in Office clients or in Teams or in Windows. And apparently that's the case. You can actually expose these messages across the different applications. But no can do. I'm being incredibly precise, apparently, with the blog post today. So, April 2020 update on Power Automate for desktop. Again, the summary of what is happening there and what you're going to automate on that side. Really cool. awesome monthly summary. On the developer side, Fluid Framework, how shared tree merges changes, and Nick Simmons is a principal PM in the Fluid Framework, and Jan Arharts, I think, is as well a PM in this side, and they're talking about how does the Fluid Framework actually work, so providing a bit insights on how things are working behind of the scenes for people. That's a nice internal insights information. There was also a roadmap to empower your workforce with AI, how Moody's Copilot ignited AI innovation. And Joey and Carter are on the Teams AI SDK team or platform team and related technologies, and they've been working with numerous customers related on AI-powered capabilities. And this is a summary on the Moody's case on what they did and how it empowered innovation. Really, really cool as well. And then we had a SharePoint Framework 1.19 release, which went live on last Tuesday, I guess that's Tuesday, Wednesday next week, with new capabilities, mainly for Vivo Connection, but also Webpack 5 support finally there, which is good. And hopefully we can get more technical platform to more up-to-date cross the stack within the upcoming features as well. So, but more on all of that as our engineering gets stuff ready to get shipped. And a few videos also, and also not technically in 1.19, but we also released some guidance related on the font, custom font center, custom font capabilities and how the SPFX solution can detect or use the fonts directly, which are set by the brand center. Thank you, by the way, Stefan Bauer, on helping me on the insights of how everything is working in CSS, because I'm not a super specialist on this stuff, but it was a good discussion with Stefan. Stefan is such a brilliant person in all of the styling and CSS stuff, because if you don't know anything, Stefan knows. Stefan knows everything.
We almost need a Stefan GPT, right?
Yeah, exactly. That would be nice. That would be really good. Now, we had a CLI 7.7 version coming out. What's new in here, Waldek?
Once again, new month, new release with new commands and improvements. If anything else, check it out. If you use CLI from Microsoft 365, you will definitely enjoy this release. Again, new improvements and changes, so definitely give it a try.
Cool. Awesome. We also had a tweet actually from Tobias Maestrani, which is related on his easy governance GitHub repo or a solution, which is a great open source solution, which people might want to have a look at as well. Governance validation for configuration baseline in Microsoft 365 made easy as possible. These are really, really nice solutions, and apparently Mark D. Anderson from Zimpraxis has been contributing here as well. So cool to see automation and automation in place, which is then powered by PnP PowerShell and Microsoft Graph SDK. It's in place. Cool. Really cool stuff. There was a blog post from Michael Mendes related on using a new send to Microsoft Graph HTTP request action in Power Automate to send urgent messages in Microsoft Teams chat and channels. So basically, how can we use Microsoft Graph to post directly messages in the chats and channels in the Teams? It's the use case.
Is it just me? I think I totally missed the announcement of that. I didn't know that there's a generic action to send or is it related to do Teams? Like I wasn't aware that there's a generic action to call Graph in Power Automate.
And that is a good question.
Because it has Teams action, so I wonder if that is specific. Like, what is it? Where is it coming from? What is it? Like, is it really a generic action on Graph? Like, because I wasn't aware that we have one, because if we do, that's massive. Imagine like being able to really easily call any endpoint on Graph. So that's intriguing.
True. Absolutely. The Graph can be now used as a standard Power Teams connector.
But that's odd. Like, what does calling Graph has to do with Teams? Or
I
is
don't
it
know.
maybe for
That
Teams endpoint only?
Should be. I'm not sure.
The available actions through the new send a Microsoft Graph HTTP requests are limited. Okay, so maybe it is send a Microsoft Graph HTTP request, but only in the context of Teams, because that's the same Teams connector. So maybe there is some limitation around that.
Yep, definitely. So it seems interesting. Interesting automation scenarios. Now, Rashmi had 2 blog posts related on automation scripts. So PowerShell script to query unique permissions in a SharePoint, super typical requirement for customers. And this is obviously the script is in the script gallery, so people can easily access that and execute that. Really, very cool. And then Rashmi had another one for oversight and sharing information in SharePoint site using PowerShell, CSM, REST, and PnP PowerShell. That is a long blog post titles and a lot of fancy names, but again, automating and getting an insights on what has been shared and to whom and all of that stuff. A typical request as well for customers to get a insights on what's happening. Really, very cool. Thank you, Rashmi, on that. Now, Simon Doy had a blog post on working with Copilot Studio dynamic change in plugging actions date time parameters. So we will definitely have more and more attention on the Copilot Studio as people are ramping up their chat and GPTs and all of that stuff, and Copilot Studio is the easiest way to, for sure, to do those across the Microsoft Cloud. And this is really about chaining and automation within the tooling. Interesting. Anyway, sorry. Now I'm actually starting to read more detailed, but thank you, Simon, on that one. Now, Mark D. Anderson had a blog post on unlocking the full potential of Copilot. Thank you, Mark Reckley. Unlocking the full potential of Copilot for Microsoft 365, crucial role of information architecture. I don't think we're going to deep dive here too much, but again, the information architecture has a critical role for Copilot success. Permissions, who's able to access what, all of that is getting analyzed by the Copilot, and it has a really big impact on things. And of course, oversharing is a potential problem. So the less we can target, more precisely we can target the queries and information what people can access, the more relevant the information will be, which we get also from Copilot. In the regarding 365, a better way to report administrator role elevations in privilege identity management. A better way to report administrator. Got it. Elevation tracking in the tooling by Lawrence Trines. So actually understanding on how the elevation is happening and then surfacing that using Power Automate within a Power BI, unless I'm completely mistaken. Yes, that's what it is. Actually pretty cool. Elevations by role and all of that. And then a few videos, SharePoint Wizard. So Amy Diamond, we had an interview with him today. Let's actually go to his web site in here just to call that out. He is publishing numerous videos within a week, quite often, depending on the week. A lot of baseline capabilities, but also advanced capabilities. So good selection of different things which are relevant. The latest video being how to add a playlist to stream web part in SharePoint.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we need all of these kind of videos and guidance as well to be in place. Now, the Message Center Show, episode 331, SharePoint improved version history, count chat for Copilot for Outlook, and much more. Again, summary on the Message Center updates which are coming out, explained in English by Daryl and Daniel. So really good. I think they're pretty cryptic messages every now and then, so it's good to have somebody who's explaining what it actually means. Now, April Dunnan had a new video on Power Automate Take Control with versioning and drafts. A super important thing as well, understanding how to do those within Power Automate. Shane Young had a video on SharePoint API Power Automate, learn to create cool stuff. So SharePoint API is incredibly powerful as well, and API surface, so you can actually automate things using then Power Automate as well. So definitely a interesting one. Daniel Anderson's latest one is how to craft a good prompt. Let's build one step by step. So learning how to do prompts in Microsoft 365 Copilot, Copilot for Microsoft 365. Always need to remember which way it goes, or in ChatGPT. Basic ideas there are the same. So the prompt engineering and good prompt logistics are the same across the stack. So it doesn't really matter are you using ChatGPT or Copilot from Microsoft. And two more, The Age of Copilot and AI, a recording from the Ask Praxis series with Patrick and Mark and Todd. The typical crew, Julie, Derek, are actually over on the Orlando last week, so that's why they're not in this episode. And then the final piece is Stephen Curry embedding video with SharePoint list formatting. So getting a video included in SharePoint list easily to be available. That's really cool as well. So simple no-code solutions, right? It's just JSON.
I would argue that that isn't called, because that can get really elaborate, to which it might even become more complex than actual code. So
no. It's just anybody can actually do those things.
Yes.
Where do we have the JSON? Where do we have the JSON? Where do we have?
There is no JSON.
There we go. There's some JSON. So see, really easy. Cool. We're on the way through what's going to happen this week. Obviously, ECS is a big focus area on getting everything ready over there. Then after ECS, the week after will be build, right? So are you, Waldek, involved in build anyway?
A little bit, tiny little bit, helping here and there what I can. Not really a massive engagement. So, but yeah, it's really great to see, all the effort we put and the attention to detail we put, really, for it to be an awesome show for everybody. So if you haven't done it yet, register. If you're going to join in person, excellent. If you're going to join online, excellent as well. Definitely check it out, because there will be some ton of new things to show. So definitely check it out.
A lot of cool stuff for sure. A lot of announcements there as well. So really cool to see. It's the conference season, and then I guess after build we're slowing down a bit. Well, there's the Collab Days Italy still, on Milan, and then I guess it's all done for now. The European Power Platform Conference is coming. Well, it's a continuous flow of conferences, right? It's,
yeah.
Choose which one you will participate wisely, so you don't get stuck on too many of them. So.
Yeah.
Cool. But I guess that's it for this one. Thank you, Amy, one more time on a great discussion. Good to have a bit of a more background of your understanding of your background as well. And congratulations on that semi-new MVP status. That was from July last year, but still, I think it's still fresh. When it's under a year, it's still fresh. Waldek, you are 15-time an MVP, so you don't,
12. I was.
12.
I am no longer. I haven't been an MVP for the last almost 4 years. So that's a pass. We don't talk about pass anymore. So.
Exactly. I was never an MVP. So see.
Oh, there you go. Well, I mean, in a way, you don't even know what you lost. So that's okay.
That is true. Cool, but thank you everybody for watching and listening, and please use hashtag PnP Weekly in Twitter or in LinkedIn. We're able to follow up on what you're writing and publishing. It helps us to catch up on what's available. But I think that's it for this week. Next, we'll be back within a week, like always.
See ya, folks.
Cheers. Bye-bye.